All right, in about 5 minutes, I'm going to pass out the midterm. Again, you will have all week long to work on it. I have been asked to make a couple of announcements. The first one is that if you are wearing a jacket in class, it must be a Rankin jacket. These are not my rules. These are the school's rules. Okay, and I was told that because evidently in one of the other classes there were several people, it wasn't this one, that were wearing non-Rankin jackets, and somebody walked by and was not happy. All right? Okay, so that's the first thing. Like I said, you will have the entire week this week to work on this. All right? Now, and just so you know, okay, I'm going to go over it right now. I've got hard copies for you. I'm not going to give those out until I've gone over it. I've also got, I'm going to pass around the flash drive and have you copy a folder from there also, because I've got some stuff that may help you get going. All right, so take it from the top then. For this test, you're going to be writing 2 more versions of the Leave Me at Home website. They're both going to be in Bootstrap. All right, and I based this off of the fact that pretty much this is what Evan's doing as well. He's doing it on something other than the Leave Me at Home, but that's kind of how he's doing it. All right. The first one that you create will be what's referred to as a SPA, a single page web application. All right? As it says, this is to be your own work. I'm not going to sit and read to you. But the idea is, go back. You should have at least electronic copies of every test that we've done. All right? And the stuff that's in there should be incorporated into this website. Now, sometimes we, like in Hot 4, you were told, create this table. And in Hot 5, you were told to not have the table. Always go by whatever the latest test says. All right? So, what should you have in there? Well, you all know what a Navbar is. You should have a Navbar at the top of the page. And, John, I just happened to grab yours, okay? But, so in other words, your Navbar will look something like that, but it'll be a Navbar. This may look a lot smaller when you put that in there. That's okay. All right? You can set the Navbar up any way you want. And what I mean by that is you should still be using the color scheme that we have talked about. So in other words, all of the text that you put in should be the color that you were told to use in the last test. The background color should be the color you were told to use on the last test. That said, if you decide you'd rather take this stuff that's here and move it to the right, then do that. All right? It should be a sticky Navbar, which means as you iterate your way up and down in the site, this should stay at the top. Does that make sense to everyone? All right. You should have a Jumbotron and a slider at the top of the page. Now, I want to show you this. I sent Tom an email this morning. His wife is from Michigan, and this weekend Michigan played Wisconsin in football and just trounced the hell out of them. So I'm sure he'll be in a good mood today, because I know his wife is. All right? But between that and the Brewers losing, I wasn't real happy this weekend, but I told him 2 things. Number 1, as promised, I'm going to be sending him a link to every one of your websites that you did for Hot 5. Everybody's. All right? And as it says, I will be sending you the latest iteration later today. Second, as I said here, I know you have several pictures of your clients. Do you possibly have more, as in 4 to 6 more, that you could take or you could take as soon as possible and email them to me as soon as possible? All right? And you have any extra testimonials? Those pages look kind of barren right now. There's not a lot on them because he hasn't given me many testimonials. And when you come in there and start actually creating a slider at the top of the page, there's not really, I don't want you to repeat the same pictures that you have on other pages. All right? So I said the students are currently learning how to create a carousel. Well, if you go out to this site, they actually have out there, all right, if it lets me go out to it, there's a working carousel. All right, right there. You'd have to put in your own pictures, of course, but all the code for it is right there. So much of the work that you're going to be doing for this project, you don't have to write it. You have to know where to go on the Bootstrap website or on some of the other material I'm giving you, and copy it. All right. So I'm showing you how this is going to be graded. 10% of the grade, this is worth, it's either 2.5 or 3 tests. I don't remember. I put 2.5. I've got to talk to Evan. All right. But on that, each one is going to be worth half of what that value is. So you can see the breakup. 10% for the Navbar, 10% for the Jumbotron and slider, 15% for adding each one of the 4 pages, 10% for putting the footer in. And I tell you how to set the footer up. And again, I say this, I don't think what I'm about to say is funny. Don't put your name there. Put your actual name there. All right? So if your name is Jeff Scott and it's not, you put Jeff Scott there. All right? Notice the remaining 10%, because that comes out to 90% for each, will be determined by the professional look and feel of the site, how everything flows. All right? Were all the requirements met? And you can see them right there. Finally, go out to bootswatch.com or another similar site and find a theme that you can use. It isn't hard to put a theme in there. Basically, it's a copying in a file. And you can overwrite anything that's on a theme as long as your stuff is down below that. All right? Now, if you look up on the screen here, please, you're going to get this in just a minute. It's already on my F drive. There's a thing called Midterm, and I'd like you to copy that folder over. The first is SPA. Now, what's in here? 4 things. The first thing, this is kind of a cheesy little thing. I had been asked to create a very simple website for the Parker School. I may have even shown you this already. So there it is. This is done totally in Bootstrap. You can see that if I go to Contact and About and Home, I move around in there. So if you don't know how to do that stuff, you can use this as a template if you want to. By no means do you have to. By no means am I saying to you, yeah, you should use mine because it's really frickin' good. No. It's something I prepared in about an hour. All right? And most of that time was spent going through their website looking for pictures. All right? All right, so other things that are in there. If you're still hung up at all on responsive website design, I took a course from Brad Traversy a while back, and I took the files and put them in here. The only reason I'm showing you this is if you look, watch as I move this, he added some CSS transitions in here. So notice, you see how it kind of, look at the size right here where it says REST project. Whoops. As I move in and out. See that? He puts some in there. If you want to add that, then there's code in there that shows you how to do it. Do you have to do that? No. If you want to do that, you can. All right? All right. What else is in there? There is a project. These are both out. I took them out from the internet. There's a thing called creating a landing page. Yeah, and it's really big. But if you look, there's a thing in there that says finished project. And it shows you a complete one-page site and how you can do it. And all the code is on there. All right? Now, if you say, well, that's fine, but, how am I supposed to understand that? Again, you don't have to do this. But if you want to do this, you can go out here to this Udemy site. This guy has got a 2-hour course where he builds that thing I just showed you, and it's free. He goes through every step and everything he did. And if you say, well, I don't have time to watch, then don't. All right? I mean, I heard this from my daughter this weekend. Well, I don't have time to do it. You know what? You sit your lazy ass down, and you do basically nothing when you get home. So I don't want to hear anymore how you don't have time to do anything. I don't mean you. I mean her. That's kind of what I told her. So she didn't talk to me for a day. All right? There's other resources, and I gave you examples of other ones in here. So you've got some examples of what I'm telling you. All right? Now, for the next part of it, for the second part, you are to come in and build a multi-page site. So other than the fact that it's multi-page instead of one page, it's the same thing. What I'm telling you is when you finish, I would do the single page one first, but if you don't want to, then do the multi-page one first. I won't know anyway. But if you do the single page first, then just break it up into pages. If you do the multi-page first, then just combine it into one page. All right? But basically, it's the same stuff that's written in here. All right? Now, about a year ago, and this was before Bootstrap 4 came out, I went and I'm not going to say I created this, no, but what I did, this thing that says website 02, there was a 13-part tutorial online. Again, I wouldn't expect you to watch it. But this is something I created. Again, is it great? No. It's working, and I don't know how that got so thick, but it did. All right. And there's an about page in there that actually has a very cheesy little working slider, carousel, and there's a contact page that just comes out. If you want to use that to get yourself started, fine. If you don't, that's fine as well. All right. So what I'd like to make sure that you do is when you get this is that you read through the front and the back of it. And you ask if you have any questions. If somebody has a question, I think, well, that's a really good question. I should have probably told everybody that. Then I will stop you. Other than that, I don't want to bug you all week. I want to give you the whole week to work on this. As it says, you have the whole week. It is due a week from today, October 22nd, when you leave. What I'd like you to do is to create two different Bitbucket repositories. One called Bootstrap 4 Spa and one called Bootstrap 4 Multipage. And eventually, I can't tell you how much. There were 2 or 3 of you that for whatever reason, either you didn't save out to Bitbucket or for some reason I couldn't get it. It took me about a third of the time to grade this because you guys had that stuff out there. Everybody who gave me access, I had access to. That was so much nicer for grading. All right? There's at least one person in here, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to send them an email that didn't appear to have done either one. In other words, I didn't have it out there either as a Bitbucket repository and I didn't get an email. So I'm going to send that person an email this morning because I want that as soon as possible. All right? I will be grading. I've started to do the grading. I haven't done much, but I will be grading all week as long as I have to grade. I want it so that a week from today, when we start on JavaScript and you turn this in, the only thing I have to grade yet from here is the midterm and nothing else. Finally, and I said this before, I'm going to say it again. If you are not sure whether or not you turned something in, maybe it's an earlier assignment, look on the grade sheet. The grade sheet will be updated today, tomorrow, Wednesday, etc. But by no later than next Monday, should it be up to date. And I will still take work from you, even if it's late. I'd rather take work from you and just give you partial credit than give you no credit. All right, most of these things are worth 100 points each. You missed 3 or 4 of them, that's pretty soon, that's going to really add up. All right? So I'm going to pass this out right now. Yeah, this is just a hard copy of what I just showed you. And again, the rest of the period then is yours. The rest of this week is yours. But don't assume anything. If you have a question on something, please ask.